That's a Zeppelin song. No quarter.
All right, here we go. 5. Nope. 5, 4, 2.
Welcome, everyone, and pull up a seat at the table. It's Lunchtime in Rome. Tonight's episode 198 is entitled Gratitude. What if there is something that could help all of your emotional needs? We've got it. It's gratitude. Pull up a seat at the table and join us. First-time listeners can subscribe on your favorite podcast app or watch us live or later at youtube.com/lunchtime in Rome. Visit us at lunchtimeinrome.com, and while there, you can take our relational needs questionnaire. Make sure to follow us on all social media, and it'd be great if you give us a 5-star review. Jay, what's up?
Being alone is the worst. Good times aren't as good, and bad times are worse when you're all alone. Romans 12:15 says to rejoice with those who rejoice and mourn with those who mourn. That's how you keep people from being alone, and what this podcast is all about. We demonstrate that in the first 15 or so minutes of the podcast, and we talk about it for the rest. So while it may not be 12:15 in Rome, we're treating it like it is.
Lunchtime in Rome.
Rome-a-dum-dum.
Hey, guys. Who's start what? Oh.
Well, Eric's distracted right now, so we got to fill his space.
Okay.
Yeah, do your thing.
I'll keep talking. I came in today.
Yep.
And got a little food. Really?
I don't know.
I got a little food story. So I came in today and I said, I apologize if I smell like seafood.
Yes, you did.
Because I was cooking seafood. But, I mean, which I've done before.
Were you cooking that Aldi mix? You've mentioned that before.
No, this was not
Smelled
that.
more like shrimp.
Did it?
No.
You heard me say shrimp.
Yes.
Jay, I'll believe whatever you say.
I love you, Chris.
But, we do this hungry root thing right now, which is like
Hungry root?
yet another hungry root. Yeah, it's like another one of those like mail order.
Bride.
Yeah, it's instead of mail order bride, it's mail order dinners.
But it's all like horseradish, turmeric.
No, it's not. It's
Sweet
not
potatoes.
It's not weird. No.
Oh, no,
I've
all
seen those
roots.
sweet potatoes.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. I'm going to stop busting your testicles.
Okay. And we've even gotten seafood meals from them before. And anybody who's cooked in their house, if you cooked seafood, like, whatever, shrimp, fish, it's gonna, there's a lingering effect. This was the strongest smelling shrimp ever.
And it came in the mail?
Yes, no, but it was.
Sat outside on the doorstep today for, 6 hours.
It sounds terrible, but
And
no,
my stomach is killing me.
No, we've had no problems, and it cooked fine. It was fine, but I don't know what it was. Like, it just had this. Maybe it's
Pungent. It was
just my
pungent.
nose, or just the quality of air.
We really didn't smell it on you
circulation
at all.
today.
Yeah, I didn't smell it at all.
I really am glad about that, because I left the house with I turned the bathroom fan on, the kitchen fan on, the exhaust fan on, and we have one of those just like standalone air purifier things, and I cranked that up to high and set it right in the middle of our living area, between the dining room.
You still have
and-
cats, or did Bella kill those?
No, oh no, we have
Because they must have just been licking their lips.
Right, I get it, probably.
Was there a certain way you cooked it that maybe made it smell more pungent? Or
No.
Yeah.
I just fried it in oil, sautéed it. Ish.
And
Yeah.
they give you the directions and all that stuff? Yeah.
We really like Hungry Root. This is not a knock on Hungry Root. We like it much better than, because this is what I thought you were talking about, Jay, when you were giving weird ingredients, because the last one we did, and I'm not going to remember the correct name, so I don't want to even say the wrong one to besmirch the wrong company, but a different mail order food thing was constantly it was the same kind of ingredients over and over again. Like, you would get 3 meals a week and 2 of them would be very cilantro heavy, for example. And it's just I know it's Jay, you hate
I got the
cilantro.
Parmesan.
Or
We
you got the
talked about
right.
it.
It tastes like soap or whatever.
Sure
I
does.
love.
Colleen's on it too. Thank you very much.
Oh, all right. Well, the two.
So you like the variety of this
yes
company?
I do.
What's the craziest meal or the most? What's your favorite one so far? Smelly shrimp, or is it a different one?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. I do like. So the one I cooked tonight, it was shrimp Alfredo, and they give you. It was actually cauliflower linguine, which
Made of cauliflower.
Yeah.
The noodles were.
Yeah.
How's that possible?
Well, it's held together by a lot of other ingredients.
Wheat.
Not wheat, but a lot of other like xanthan gum type things, you know.
That's my favorite.
Honestly, it's not bad. The first time, because we have had this meal a couple times, and I was like, I don't know. I mean, I know I've had Amy's like gluten-free pasta before. Some of it's better than others, you know.
You just gotta stick with rice pasta if you're gonna do that.
Yeah, that's what she likes best, and that's fine. It's good. But this actually, this is pretty good.
How long you guys been on this one? Couple months?
4 months, maybe.
Brian's
5
like,
months.
don't gotta be exact. 2 years, 5 minutes. Either one. Find one of the ones.
Ballpark.
more than a couple months, but less than a year.
Gotcha.
Well, Rachel and I last week got to go away for just a couple days. And Brian, thank you so much for taking Bella to school before you went back home to get Ethan to take him to the exact same school.
That was only Tuesday. He made it Wednesday, but
Oh, did he? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it was one of our best trips ever. And I had a really funny moment on Easter with my sister Marcy, because she's like, you guys go away a lot. And I said, yeah. I said, we highly prioritize it. She goes, well, I mean, us too. I mean, it's been 26 years, but it was fun.
But the last time we went away,
we
it was
really,
fantastic.
well, they did just go away, so they made it 26 years in between vacations.
That's
alone.
good for them.
But we went to exciting Brookville, Pennsylvania, because they have a place called Scripture Rock Park. And it's some guy who engraved scripture into rocks. And I will be talking about it Sunday at church. I will not go on to talk about it now, but I will tell you, it was the single saddest park I've ever been to in my entire life. Like, it was so gorgeous, so well made, and it was just so, I'll tell it right now. So we go in and we're so excited, like, man, this guy, I mean, and they give you, well, you put $1, you're supposed to put $1 in, which I did. And you get the booklet on because it's been like 90 years or so. No, over 100 years now. So a lot of the rock is weathered away. So they have a number for each one and where it is and what scripture it is and everything else. Well, in the very beginning, why are you already laughing?
Because I know it's gonna happen. Because you're looking at the number, you're like, it kind of looks like it says that.
Oh, no. It's not. No, it's far sadder than that. Because in the very beginning, it gives you the bio of this guy. Did I tell you?
You sent the picture of the plaque.
Oh, so you actually read it. So this poor guy in 1901 gets involved with this faith healing sect. And his wife is pregnant with their third child. And it's faith healing. And so his wife gets sick. And he refuses treatment for her. And so she dies. And so they declare him insane and arrest him for the death of his wife
Oh, wow.
and take his 2 children from him. In 1906, he is released. He is forced to leave the state of Indiana where he lived, Valparaiso, and settles in Brookville, Pennsylvania, where he begins to become a street preacher and spend time in the woods carving scripture into rocks. It is the 51 most angry and sad scripture verses you
Oh
can
my
possibly
gosh.
find.
Lamentations.
It's everything, including Ecclesiastes, which I will be preaching about this Sunday, the verse he used.
Had a great series, by the way.
And it's such a gorgeous place. And about, 10 of them in, Rachel kept walking and I stopped. And it was a gorgeous day and the sun was out and it's the 2 of us and it's beautiful. And she goes, what? I said, honey. I said, here's a man who is so alone. He got caught up in some really bad theology. He lost his wife and his unborn child. He had his 2 older children taken from him. He had to move 2 states away. Nobody paid any attention to him. He was a madman in the woods carving rocks. And 100 years later, they went, we can make a park out of it.
This guy had some good
Put
ideas.
some mulch down, We got the red path.
People come and pay $1 for the book.
It makes no sense whatsoever. And it's the most gorgeous, sad place I think I've ever been in my
It
life.
sounds like a bizarre trek to walk through, because you're painting this picture of a gorgeous park on a gorgeous day, and you stop and read the saddest scripture, and you're like, that's a depressing one. Let's keep going.
Man,
This one's really bad. Let's keep going.
Indiana to PA, 1901. That's a trek.
It wasn't 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's a trek.
Wasn't there something in there about they had to commit him so that he wouldn't be lynched by a mob or something like
Yeah,
that?
the people were pretty angry about his wife dying.
Yeah.
So they saved him by declaring him insane and putting him in prison for 5 years and
then he
taking his children.
Then he gets out and scrolls these scriptures, angry scriptures.
And it's amazing because I mean you can read most of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and they're big letters, and
Yeah.
I mean, it is very interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I mean, I'm not the most spiritual guy in the world, but it didn't feel right there. Also, right behind it, with all due respect, Jehovah's Witness Center. Yeah, there was like an air of like heebie-jeebies.
Sure.
That's what a pastor would call it.
Yeah.
But that being the case, it was arguably our best trip ever. Our new move is instead of spending like $180 a night on Airbnb, we go to the crappiest motel possible because we don't want to spend time in the motel. So, like, you have a really nice Airbnb, you turn on
Right,
the TV,
right.
you're hanging out, let's just eat in and everything else. So, like, the one day we got up and we went, well, we had breakfast at a really nice, cool place, and then we went to the Scripture Park and got sad. And then we changed and went disc golfing at this ball golf course where I had to go into the pro shop and pay, you know, like you do
That's
one out
weird.
here. And and I was just like, wow. I mean, it was $3. You know? But this one wasn't on the ball golf course. It was just on their property.
Like adjacent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you actually had to drive this gravel road behind. And Rachel kept saying, I don't think this is the right way. You should be in a truck if you're on this road. And I'm like, honey, he said the gravel driveway.
Well, and I think it's awesome that you guys do that because I think it's awesome because I think a lot of couples think they need to do this grandiose thing, whereas like you just go out and see what you find.
Well,
like, you know, do a little planning.
I'm not finished. So we finished the disc golf, went to a moonshine distillery that had like all these different smoked meats, and you can get 5 free samples of their moonshine.
Angry scripture on the label.
Yeah, exactly. yeah. I can't find the
That's
joke.
what Brookville's known for. Yeah. The land of angry scripture.
But then went to this park that had a waterfall, and these guys were fly fishing out front, and we'd found this covered bridge. We saw it online, so we're like, we got to find the covered bridge. And we finally found it.
I love a good covered
and it was
bridge.
closed. But the town of Brookville, like the actual historic Brookville, is like every other town in Pennsylvania that time forgot, except time didn't forget.
Whereabout is that?
It's just south of I-80, east of Du Bois.
Oh, okay.
No,
All right.
nay. West of Du Bois.
East of Clarion.
East of
Okay.
Clarion.
All right.
But historic Brookville is gorgeous. And I don't know if they got some federal restoration money, but I mean, everything is just freshly painted and there's cute little restaurants and it's a little bizarro world. Like I did think we were in the Matrix again. And, because like there was the grossest person we saw was this guy wearing a Brookville police like satin windbreaker with a shaggy beard, with his hands in his pocket the whole time, and like if you walked past him, he just kind of nodded at you, and you're just like, that's weird.
I think between what you felt in the park and what you're telling me right now, what I'm feeling based on, there's a Stephen King novel
ghost
in
of
there
Brookville.
somewhere.
Yeah, it could be. It could be the ghost of that dude.
Yeah.
but then he would have killed us. Maybe not.
Scroll
but
scripture
cool
in
little
your forehead.
restaurants, and and only like one
signature.
Fox's Pizza Den, and like one little tarot card reader over here, but then this ministry, that ministry, and it was a lot of fun. And we went to a bar that night after dinner, and it's Tuesday night, Brookville bar.
Oh, it's getting nuts.
And I put $5 into the jukebox, which gave me 24 credits.
Well, it's Brookville.
And then Rachel goes, honey, and there's this kid standing behind me. Of course, he's got a boot. And he's waiting, and he has $1 in his hand. I'm like, no, buddy, hey, no problem. You go ahead. I got 24 credits. It was either 1 credit or 2 for a song.
Right.
And he just looks at me, and I said, yeah, buddy, no, you put your money away. I just wanted there to be music on. It's
Like,
fine.
my name's not Buddy, it's Jim.
I would have been fine with that. He said nothing. And then he went up, and he was gone in like 3 seconds. And he did first in queue for every song. And so he emptied my $5 and put all of his songs ahead of mine.
Dude, this is a weird town. I'm getting weird vibes.
Before I went up to get my food at the bar, because I was getting wings later, which burned my lips to the point where they were swollen a day later, but they were delicious.
Wow.
And a guy who had just gotten there, so he hadn't been drinking, at least at the bar all day, he was like, Chad!
To you.
Yeah. And I just shook my head no. And he goes,
man.
Chad! And I said, and I walked over to him and I said, hey, buddy, I said, it's good to see you. I said, but I'm not Chad. And he goes, "You're not Chad?" And I was like, "Nope." And then when I went back up to get Rachel a drink at the bar, I said to the bartender, I said, "Hey, does Chad owe anybody money?" And finally, when I went to pay, because there was no debit cards, you had to pay cash, I kind of gave her the this thing, but then I stopped and I went, and I asked her, if you're paying cash, instead of doing the hand signal to write a check, should you go like put your hands in the air like you're flipping cash? So it was a great trip. And then we played disc golf again on the way home, and that was fun, and it was a good time.
That's awesome.
It was a little long there, but
That's okay.
it was
a
just-
trip.
We always say we're making memories.
Yeah.
Making memories.
memes.
There was a fire. Sorry. I went to go to get cash out of a giant eagle, and they said, "Sorry, we're closed. The power's out." It was 70 degrees and sunny, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, probably from the storm." Of course, guy in white pickup truck. Well, it was probably the fire. And I said, "What?" He goes, "Well, power's been out all day across town. Plus, there was a crash by Sheets." And I was like, "We're like 3 miles from Sheets. I don't smell smoke." Okay.
Yeah, there's
He just
something
knows
weird.
everything about it.
I either want to go to this town or never want to go to this town.
I
I'm
encourage
very
it.
drawn to it now.
It sounds awesome.
It's a great place. I didn't even tell you about the immigrants in the hotel. Oh my gosh. 15-passenger van pulls up, Washington, D.C. plates. They were just flown in from somewhere, and they were being dispersed into America. And I was like, this is why you don't stay in
man.
these hotels.
Yeah.
man.
I think it's surprising Rachel would stay in a what you say about, motel like that.
She's
Because
down.
she's kind of okay.
She's down.
Well, no red carpet.
Yeah, that's a different story.
Red carpet in.
My family took a trip because we haven't been here we weren't here last week, so there's been a lot that's happened with us too. We took a trip up to Rochester Institute of Technology.
Rochester.
Ethan is already looking at colleges, and so we went up 2 Thursday and Fridays ago, like the weekend before Easter, and really had a good time. For the most part, the school itself was really impressive. I'm not a big college guy myself, but we all came away really impressed with that. He's actually taking a summer class up there. He's going to go up. It's film and animation. We're going to drop him off
June 23rd.
No, it's a last week of July. So we're going to drop him off on we're going to go up Sunday night, drop him off Monday, and then
exciting.
he's going to be there the whole week on campus, and then we're going to pick him up Friday. So
And then he has to go back to high school for a whole other year.
yeah,
Two.
Two.
yeah,
Oh my
2.
gosh.
right,
That's right.
11th and 12th.
And he's going to alienate every one of his friends by September. He'll be like, when I was in college this summer,
Well, the thing is, most of the people he hangs out with right
or
now
doing that kind of stuff.
are seniors. So
right.
he's not good. He's like, I don't know who I'm really going to be hanging out with.
Well, there's people coming up.
Well,
new
that's what I
friends.
told him. I was like, look, well, now you're going to be
you're the
gonna
cool
need
kid.
to be a leader to them.
Yeah.
And that's why you shouldn't have been a jerk to all your kids in your class. I learned that my hard way when I was a sophomore.
So it was
exciting.
It was a pretty cool trip. Yeah, and it's kind of mind boggling, just to be on campus and already be considering this. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, let's go. Let's just go ahead and do that.
I've heard that Rochester's a cool town. Is that
We didn't get to Rochester. The campus itself is very cool. Rochester, it's got a pretty good reputation for. I wouldn't say it's not like MIT, on that
but RIT
on
is a
that
big
caliber. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, people from all around the country. It's kind of a big hotbed for recruiting, and you can tell that it's competitive. The different classes or programs that they have. You can already tell Ethan's going to have to work to get in that with a good portfolio resume.
Right.
He's going to have to sell himself.
You got to work for it.
Yeah. So overall, it was a really, really good experience. Obviously, we're going to look around at some different stuff, but I would love to see him get into that.
Cool.
Just
How long take you?
their facilities are
5.5?
great. Yeah, about 5.
Yeah.
But their facilities are great. For what he wants to do with film, they have a professional soundstage where movies come in and do screenings, and
that's
just
cool.
just so many cool programs. They have something called Tiger Tank because their mascot's the tigers. So it's like a Shark Tank. So people kids from campus can pitch their ideas, get funding. So I think that's pretty cool.
That is awesome.
We also lost a chicken.
Oh yes, I've been waiting for this story.
Yeah,
This is sad.
It last Monday. I built a chicken coop. We got a new chicken coop. I hadn't put it up, but I did it on last Sunday and moved them out of the shed. And I'm glad we did it then, because when we moved the chickens, we noticed the one was just kind of staring at the ground. It looked kind of drunk. I was like, it looks drunk. Lex went out Monday morning, and it was laying on its side with its beak underneath its wing. And so we brought it in. It couldn't stand up anymore. Its head was just like rolling around. It was pathetic.
Did you say that?
You're pathetic.
Pathetic nugget.
It was
Of
just
all the chickens I've ever had.
It was pathetic to watch.
Heartbreaking.
And Nugget was she was beautiful. Like her plumage was just gorgeous. So, anyways, took her to plumage. That's the word, right? Yeah,
It is now.
I believe you.
No, it's good. It's good.
So we ended up taking her. Lex and Abby took her to an exotic vet.
Well, Lex tried giving her a bath first, right?
Lex
there
tried,
was a whole,
just because
Like a cat.
at first we thought like maybe she just was egg bound, like she had an egg stuck up in her. So sometimes they say that kind of stuff can relax them, and then they'll pass the egg or whatever. But that wasn't the case. And they say birds can carry pain for and things for a long, long time, and you never know. So. Whether it was a cancer on her spine, but they
tough
said it
old
was,
bird.
Yeah, tough old bird. Something neurological, So, anyways, ended up having to put her down. Abby now has the chicken's ashes and an imprint of the claw, her one chicken claw. And like Abby's just so broken up about this. The AmVets was wonderful. AmVets took great care, very empathetic.
They should have.
Yeah, they should have.
$600 and some.
I'd have been really good for you for $500.
Well, I did say in front of Abby to Lex, I was like, look, a 22 bullet, it's a lot less expensive. Lex was like, no, don't say that.
Dude, that's when I'm bad, Brian. Sorry.
So, anyways, they get back from having this bird put down. They walk up the steps with Wendy's. And
come on.
I almost said to Abby, "Oh, did you get chicken nuggets?" And then Abby is eating her chicken nuggets. She ended up ordering chicken
What
nuggets.
was the bird's name?
Nugget.
Okay.
She ended up ordering chicken nuggets, and she's sitting there, and like it dawns on her, and
Nice.
she just looks at it and goes, maybe this wasn't the best choice to get right now. And she was serious about it, so she was pretty broken
Did
up.
she finish?
She finished them. Yeah.
Power through.
The last thing I want to talk about is Lex and I had a great time on Saturday. We went down to the Andy Warhol Museum. We ended up getting the museum passes. So it's like the Carnegie and then the Warhol. The Warhol was really cool. I've always kind of liked Warhol. But Lex and I had a really nice date there, and then we went and ate tacos across the street, actually right under PNC Park. They had this place called, I think it was Tacos and Taps or Taps and Tacos or something. Really, really good tacos. So
Nice.
It was a really nice day. Yeah. So there's been a lot going on with us, way more than I could say in this little time.
Yeah. I'll be super fast, and you can be
All right.
grateful for that. This week, Amy went down to North Carolina to see Lauren and Justin Boothby. They've sat at the table, and she had a great time. And I had some great daddy-daughter time.
Yeah, you did.
Took Maggie to see her first movie, which we saw, the Super Mario Brothers movie, which was awesome.
Did she enjoy it and follow
She
it?
did. Yeah, she was a little antsy of like she wanted something to eat because I didn't as her first movie, I didn't want to get her something to drink and have to get up in the middle of the movie and leave. So I was like, we'll get a treat after. And she was like, can we get a treat? And I was like, we'll get it after. But that was the only thing. She was pretty good the whole way through. And one thing nowadays is you can reserve your seat. Gone are the days of going in a half hour early to get a good seat.
Yeah.
And then the previews start, and then 20 minutes later the movie starts. So you're there for almost an hour already on top of it. But no, she sat and she enjoyed it, and she talked about it, and it was awesome. It was so much fun. And I recommend the movie. It's a lot of fun. If you've grown up with the Mario Brothers, there's a lot of throwback, a lot of nostalgia, and it's just really, really, really good fun. And then lastly, getting healthier, getting stronger.
Yep.
Down 9 pounds, and
Congrats.
I'm
Nice.
benching 50 pounds more than I was in January.
75 total.
Yeah, that's right. Ounces. No. Nah. Okay. So good. Yeah, all good.
Well, wait, before we're done, I really want to hear about your adventure today, Eric and Jay, in installing this
Oh, this
trail
golf course
cam
stuff.
and the whole.
I mean, there's been vandalism on the
Put a
disc golf
camera up.
course, and not major, but annoying. And shout out to Chadwick and Dennis who
Oh, yeah.
cemented in the steps
They are in
They
there.
were just cinder blocks, but I dug them out, and it had been pretty much a pain to make them. And whoever the vandals are, were ripping them out. And so we reactivated one trail cam and put in 2 more. Appreciate Eric did some background work on that. Realized to take the cover off the lens, and
Be good.
we should be good to go.
Now I have no idea how those things work. Like, can you monitor it like online, or you have to like
No,
go?
you have to be there, but you can do it on
Okay.
your phone when you're in like a certain distance.
Oh, okay.
They're
Bluetooth.
motion
So you don't
activated.
have to like
go up the
undo
ladder
it
or whatever.
Yeah, right.
But they're
Yeah.
motion activated, like they don't work. Yeah.
yeah.
And especially because like we had to lock them and secure them to the trees so that they don't get stolen.
Right.
Because they're not as discreet as the first one was. But no, we should be good to go, and it'll be fun to see
The first one was like
who's doing it.
tree shaped.
I was hidden in the bushes.
I'm
and
really
stuff.
grateful that you guys did that.
Yeah. It's really
yeah.
sad that there's. I mean, at least this wasn't. It doesn't seem malicious. You said like the
No,
vandalism.
more annoying. But when you look at something like this that's so terrible, I'm grateful that we even have a disc golf course in the
Boom.
first
I
place.
am so grateful about that.
And I'm grateful that we have friends that I baptized last Thursday who said, "Jay, we want to pay you back, so we're gonna carry cement and a 5-gallon jug of water down that hill to put the cement in."
It's a trek.
And then
It is a trek.
they only used like one of the gallons, so he brought it back up.
He brought it back up.
Yeah, it's in the shed.
It's in the shed.
I'm
Could have put
great-
it in the shed down there.
That's WikiWik on TikTok.
I'm grateful you guys can like do another smooth transition
Segue.
after I step on the first one. So
I'm grateful for you missing it the first time and providing us that opportunity to do it a second time.
What's
So
this
we
podcast
have
all
been
about?
wanting to talk about gratitude. Gratitude is something that is very, very underrated, underutilized, and under the radar. And we've been talking about it outside of the table for a little bit. And what I thought we could finally talk about was how it affects emotional needs. But we wanted to give you a little background first. So the Oxford definition, Chris, we always like to go to the Oxford. That's the official.
that's the official. Yeah. The quality of being thankful, readiness to show appreciation for, and to return kindness.
Yeah, that's okay.
Brian gives it a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Is
It's
being
so
grateful the same as thankful? Are we calling them synonyms?
I think gratitude is magic. I literally believe that gratitude.
The Brian Hurd definition.
That's the Brian Hurd def. So it doesn't quite
Magic.
square with the Oxford definition, but I do believe that somebody that practices gratitude and really fully can be grateful in the moment for what you have, your life transforms in incredible ways.
Don't give away the whole podcast.
I'm not. When I was delivering water, I don't know if anybody knows that I delivered water. But I reached this point where I was so miserable, so dark and black in my soul, and just miserable. And somebody challenged me.
Was that
Look,
before you came to know Christ?
no, I've known Christ for a long, long time. Sometimes better, sometimes worse. But they challenged me to really start practicing gratitude. And I think that's something that bears talking about, is that it becomes an intentional. It needs to be an intentional discipline. It's not this like ether kind of thing. It doesn't. You just don't. It doesn't happen. Like if you start to practice the discipline of gratitude, man, like your life really does transform. You start to really see the miracles that are there all around us, all the time. And you just become a much more grateful person by doing that. Sorry, I just
You tailed off
dude.
a little bit.
I love gratitude. I'm so excited about
It's a good
this.
summary.
I'm
Yeah.
grateful for it.
I would say the only problem I have with the Oxford, and our guy Jay Frank said he's more of a Webster's guy.
Right.
So I'm going to have to look into that.
We'll
next
use
time.
Webster next time.
I think Webster last time was like being grateful, and I was like, all right, what are we going to do? I get it. Is to show appreciation for and to return kindness. I don't know that it's centered around kindness. You can be grateful for anything, not just kindness.
Right.
True. So I would say the Lunchtime in Rome definition is the mindset and action of appreciating that which you do have or the situation that you are in.
Yeah, I like that you used the word mindset, because in the Oxford thing where it says return kindness, I don't know. I think of being grateful as a mindset. It's a way that you're feeling.
Right. It doesn't have to have first blessed you. You know, like it's not you're returning something.
Right.
It's
saying
saying
you
well,
are grateful for something that has blessed you. Is that what?
right. Or
Right.
you can find the blessing in it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Because again, going back to when I delivered water, I had to start basically from scratch. Like, I am grateful that I have my eyesight so that I can drive this truck. I am grateful that I have air in my lungs so that I can move my body, so that I can, provide for my family. You know, it isn't just a returning of something that's been. It's a recognition of those things that you may allow to go unnoticed, in my opinion.
So, why be grateful? Why have and this is my goal, and I'm not even gonna say it. Why be grateful?
I mean, for me, it is biblical. We're called to think about
I see you.
think about the good things. And there are times where I've been like down and out, and like you kind of have to like force yourself and think about like the good that you have and the good things that like some things that you like Brian, you said, like eyesight and breathing, like things that you do every day and you don't really think about, but there's people in this world that don't have those things, and you can do so much more than them, with those small things, and being grateful, like, yeah. So
I think that there's a spectrum where on once, and maybe it's not exactly this, but you can practice gratitude and be grateful, or you can slide into a very entitled mentality
And bitter.
And bitter.
I was gonna say
Right.
bitter, yeah,
Right. Like,
yeah.
I remember when we went on missions trip to Brazil, we went to a garbage dump where people were actually living in this garbage dump. Some of the happiest people I've ever met, because they were grateful that they got to take this spoiled milk off this truck today and drink it. Like, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
And then I contrasted that with, like, I just thought about all the Americans that I know that, they're just spoiled. And like, you see these people
Like the
walking,
milk.
like the milk. Yes. But you see these people walking around,
But they don't
like,
get drank.
like you said, Jay, on Sunday, like your mouth gets smaller.
Smaller, bitter mouth, small
Bitter
mouth.
mouth.
Avoid
So,
people with a small mouth.
So I think gratitude can be the antidote to that entitlement and bitterness that so many of us can slide into, especially when things aren't quite going our way in life.
I think it's we're answering the question, why have it? It's also just it's healthier, right? It's healthier to aim for a positive outlook, and I think gratitude is part of that. And I mean, mentally healthier, but that bleeds right into physiologically as well. I mean, it has
It's holistic.
a definite effect, on your whole being, to never consider the positives. We could call them the blessings, or we could whatever. But to be grateful for those aspects, or even those small items in your life. Yeah.
I feel like it just gives you one more lens that you can see the world through.
Double bonus points.
Great.
Because I was just going to say, Chris, you said outlook, and I think we all look through life through lenses, whether we know it or not. Gracious or gratitude is one of them. Bitterness is another one. Now, there's many. There's skeptical, there is optimistic, there's pessimistic, but I think with an attitude, a lens of gratitude. Go ahead. I interrupted you.
You see things that you couldn't have seen before.
Yes.
And those things can make all the difference in how you approach the rest of your minute, day, hour. You know what I mean? Like,
You operate out of the lens of which you look through.
correct. And it's
Whether you know it or
and
not.
it's gratitude is an abundance mindset. It's not a lacking mindset. Because when you start seeing gratitude, you start to count those blessings.
The glass of milk is half full.
Yeah, I saw a clip the other day. This guy saying, he was talking about his kids, and there's times where I get so frustrated with Maggie. And,
Your hands are all clawed. You're like
I just and I need to walk away. And he was like, and somebody told me one day that imagine you're 80 years old and you have a time machine, and the only time that you can come back to is in this moment where you just want to rage and yell at your kid because they're not obeying you or that they're not listening to you or whatever. And like it kind of gives you that gratitude lens of like, I have a daughter. We've prayed for her. She's not understanding.
Right.
You know, her mind is full and can't comprehend things right now. Like, let's chill out a little bit and let's be in this moment because you're never going to get it back again.
And if you came back in that time machine to that moment, like you're suggesting, wow, how disappointed you'd be in yourself, or
no, what can you do now to make it better? Like looking that lens through of like, I'm grateful for this moment, even though she's like really testing my patience. What can I do to meet her need if I'm not, because like a lot of times, like with Maggie specifically, is like she won't listen. It'll be like the fourth time I'm telling her to do something and she hasn't done it, and I'm tired of saying it over and over again. And I know, like, she's 4, right? Typical 4-year-old. But to me, like, I want it done yesterday. I'm just that kind of guy. So for me to think of like, okay, like to take a step back, just be grateful that she is healthy, she's smart, funny, you know, all those things. But in this moment, she's not really doing what I need her to do. But how can I, through all that, being thankful for everything else, how can I meet her need and do better?
There's something to be said too. Sorry, one sec. There's something to be said too about that's like a second tier, second level of gratitude is being grateful for the imperfect times, being grateful for the difficulties, because we've all, you know, you know what's good because of what's bad. You know what's, you know, you can reflect upon and in a way be grateful for something difficult happening because you know that you can strengthen an aspect of your life through that, or you know you're going to come out the other side, and you know, just you're going to wake up tomorrow and it's going to be a fresh day.
Right.
So you can
and
have those moments.
I think it's in those hardest times where it's most important to practice gratitude, because again, those are the times that will test you and turn you bitter or make you entitled if you're not,
Or make you stronger.
We have Jay again. How would you describe the difference or line between being grateful and becoming complacent in a way where you are not striving to do more?
I would say those are separate things, because to be, you know, wow, this is really terrible. I had a terrible day. Everything's bad, whatever else. Man, I'm grateful that I have this opportunity in front of me. And I'm grateful that tomorrow I can overcome this and I can move forward. You know, you were grateful for your job and everything else, but you didn't stay as a water delivery guy.
Correct. Right.
You know, so I would say they're not mutually exclusive.
Right.
Would be, you know, you can be
Very good
grateful,
point.
but I'm not going to stay here. I think if you're not grateful, you're more than likely to fall into self-condemnation and be like, man, this is my life now.
This is it, my lot.
I don't deserve. Of course, this would happen to me, and no, I don't deserve any better.
No, you can still be ambitious and you can still be aggressive in goals and things like that. But, you know, I read something this morning about the Israelites getting manna in the desert, right? Where God gave them enough manna for today.
Don't save it.
Can't save it. It rots. And
Send it to the
so,
dumps in Brazil.
like I do, I see gratitude in much the same way, is that it has to be an everyday thing, and you're going to get enough in your day. That doesn't mean that you have to, like you said, Jay, it doesn't mean that you have to become complacent or accept where you're at. You can still be aggressive and you can still have those ambitions.
I think it comes back to something we don't talk as much about here at the table, which is perspective. And if you guys want to go back and listen to episode 106 with Joseph Jason, he's the one who just hammered that home.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and having been in prison for 15 years, you listen to somebody like that who turns their life around. And if your perspective is, hey, I'm going to have a grateful heart and I'm going to look at it that way, or I'm going to have a negative heart, back to that lens, you know, it's something that shapes everything else around you. And so what we wanted to do, and what I challenged these men to do, is take a look at, because as I was preparing this episode, I thought, you know, it's interesting. Gratitude helps each and every one of our emotional needs. Whether we have it, it makes it better. If we don't, it makes it less worse.
Yeah.
So we're going to just break down each of the emotional needs. Please feel free to go to lunchtimeinrome.com, and if it works for you,
It should now.
It should. It didn't just now for me, but that's another point.
No, come on.
It's just me, man. It's just me.
Did we
Blocked on my website. What?
Did you say we're heading into the emotional needs?
Yeah, I'm in the middle of the transition for that.
Well, I like to interrupt those. But did you want to? There was another thing.
We covered most of that, but I would like to hear. Chris would like to talk about how you can be more grateful.
Right. Just so Jay challenged me, so I.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Jay challenged me. He said, "Well, just if we want to talk about some ways to do that, look them up." So I, naturally Googled and clicked on the first website I found. And this is from USU. Any guesses of what institution that is?
United States University.
No.
Why don't you just tell us?
Utah State University.
Ah, yes. The Flying Dutchman.
Maybe, I don't know, but they give four examples in this page. They have that says gratitude has a fantastic benefit. So how does one better cultivate this attitude of gratitude? Consider these 4 tips. So the first one may work for some. I don't know if I could do it. It's a gratitude journal, which we have heard that before. And I mean, journaling is definitely a legit way of.
Well, and because you have to write
focusing
it
your
down, you
thoughts.
have to think about it.
Right. Forces you to think. Yeah.
Share with others your appreciation for them, or in other words, your gratitude for actions that they have done, which again brings it it becomes a thought in the forefront of your actions and in your mind. Obviously, we've talked about look for the positive. And then the final one, it says, some people need a visual reminder. It may be helpful to those individuals to create a list of people or things that they often maybe take for granted, things that they should be grateful for, that they gloss over in their lives, and put it on your fridge or something.
Well, like people have pictures of their family on their phone. I think that's a great way to remember, hey, I've got a great family, and I want to be grateful for them.
That's all I got.
All right.
I just
So
wanted to share that,
Now,
And
now we unveil that Jay Frank is in fact Jared Frank.
that's Jared.
Sits with us at the table.
Wait a minute.
He's going by Jay.
His first name has a J.
Is Jay Frank like his CIA name?
He said it's his YouTube name, but could be the same.
Ah.
I guess I just couldn't make out his picture from across the room.
Well, Jared, it's great to
Sorry,
have you.
Jared. We just
He
exposed
wondered,
your
he
entire
wondered if I
life.
recognized him from 20 feet away in his
He
profile
said he's in
picture.
DC right
Too
now.
late.
They're listening.
Sorry,
They are
Jared.
Listening.
Frank.
Did not know.
My bad.
He said he's keeping secrets from Max. So the point of the story is we're going to break down each emotional need. Go to lunchtimeinrome.com and take our relational needs questionnaire. Find out which one is your highest, your 3 highest, your 3 lowest. So let's start off with acceptance. If you have a high need of acceptance,
I do.
which is being loved even though you've made a mistake. If you have a heart of gratitude, how can that help you? You're an expert in acceptance.
Yeah. So the way I looked at this one, because I really focused on my top emotional needs when I was looking at this, because that's
You're passionate about
kinda
them,
how I
and you're an
relate it.
expert on those.
right. So high need of acceptance. I will give an example. Like, let's say I did something at work that did not go over well. I still have friends that will accept me. And one, that I did something not great at work, they will still accept me. Or if I were to let a friend down or something, like, we could talk about it and get through it. Like, I'm grateful for that, and I'll always have that, like, with you guys, because I was gonna tail into belonging, but I don't want to do that yet.
But it's definitely. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go, you please.
Well, but yeah, to continue that's definitely being grateful for those people in your life
Right.
who do accept you.
Because ultimately,
right?
like,
So-
it's gonna be okay. I'm gonna have the group of people that is gonna be accepting of me.
Well, like you said, if it's a work situation, well, you know what? I'm really grateful that I have this job.
Yeah, there's
And
that too.
Assuming you don't get
And I'm grateful I'm not fired.
Well, I was just going to say, assuming you didn't get fired.
Not yet.
You've got a boss that understands mistakes. So,
Right.
yeah, man, I'm really worried about this,
Right.
but boy, I'm glad I have a job. Or if it's a relationship, well,
Yeah.
at least I have a relationship where I care if I screw up.
Yeah.
If I'm just all alone, your need for acceptance is met because you're not failing anybody but yourself.
Right.
It really helps you to see the larger alternatives because like with your case, man, I screwed up at work and now people at work are mad at me. You could focus on that, and that could become the tunnel vision that you
could
have,
eat at you
and that
for-
just takes
yeah.
you down a black hole. Or you step back and look above the sun and
Focus above the
say,
sun. It's fine.
By the way, I didn't screw up at work. I just want to say that. Not yet.
but you pull that back and just say, you know what? Here's the larger world. It gives you that perspective that allows you to maintain
Proper mindset.
proper mindset.
Correct outlook. Second one is affection. You have a high need for affection, whether it's verbal, hey, I love you, or it's physical, a hug, or whatever. How would gratitude help that need? Whether you're getting it or not getting it. Well, one of the things I thought of, at least, hopefully you have somebody around you that you want affection. That you have at least some relationship there. Once again, unless you've completely shut down. But if you're like, man, I really wish my wife was more affectionate. You got a wife. That's a good
Right.
thing.
Right.
So you can take, the more you look at that and you're like, well, I do have these people in my life and I'm grateful for that. Yeah, I wish they were more loving. Well, then you're going to be more eager to meet their needs, which will then give them a chance to meet your need for affection. If you're just bitter and angry all the time because your needs aren't getting met and you're not showing thanks for the relationship, well, then it's never going to get met.
Right.
That would be one of the things I thought of.
That's a good point because I was sitting here thinking, oh, I'm grateful she touched my arm today.
Well, and you can go grateful for the not negative. At least we didn't fight today.
Right.
At
Okay.
least she was kind to me. At least whatever. And the other thing is, that they give you any affection. Again, even if it's not what you want, you want 100. Well, they gave you 10.
Right.
But they gave you 10.
They gave you 10, and for them, that might be 100.
That's a reach for them on that day.
Yeah, right. Or any day.
Yeah.
And so you're grateful for that. Appreciation, hey, that's being thanked for things that you do. So if you have a gratitude mindset,
And I think for me, the appreciation one is when somebody does show appreciation, again, there's so much negativity. And there's so much, not even just negativity, but there's so
those
much.
are two separate statements, right? You just said when people show you appreciation, there's so much negativity.
No, I started two sentences. There's so much negativity in the world. And even if it's not negativity, there's so many times where you feel like you did something that could be recognized, even if you aren't looking for that recognition, where people gloss it over. So there's very little appreciation for what you've done a lot of times in life.
Right.
So
I would say the majority.
yeah, right. Like it's either negative feedback or it's just
No
we're
feedback.
not nothing.
Or not noticed.
Right.
And so when somebody does go out of their way to say, you know what, that was a great job that you did, or this when we had this conversation, it really changed things for me. That fills me with such gratitude because
Right, but that's being grateful for it.
Right.
What happens if you have a high need and you're not getting it? How can gratitude change that?
Eric, would you? I thought you were going to say something.
What you're just saying is I really appreciate it. I'm very grateful when I
so
get it.
what we've discovered is Brian has a high need of appreciation.
Yeah, let's put that out. Or
but
he values it. He values it.
I was gonna say, like in the example of like doing a project and working on a project, like Brian, you're doing a big job right now. Let's say you didn't get a good attaboy, you can still appreciate and be grateful for the great job that you did and you finished it. You know what I mean?
I think that's the number one thing.
You were honored, or well, maybe honored is too strong a word, but given that task because of your merit, or because of
Yeah, I mean, hey, at
Grateful
least I did something
Right.
that deserves to be appreciated.
Right.
I made the joke, not the joke. I told Eric, Bella was running late, and I was annoyed, but I'm like, I'm still gonna love her. And so I went in the kitchen and got a water bottle because she always grabs a water bottle before we leave. And then she's like, I have to get a water bottle. I was like, no, I already got it for you, honey. And then we were halfway to the school, and she goes, so where's the water bottle? And I'm like, I told you it was by the door. And so I was like, I even in trying to be nice, I didn't get appreciated for something I did. But like if I sit back, I go, I still got her the water bottle.
Right.
But,
Right.
And then I gave her my water bottle. But yeah, so being grateful, having an attitude where you're just like, hey, at least I did my part. And the second thing I would say is that there's people that you value enough in your life that you want them to appreciate you. You know.
Oh yeah.
You know, because if somebody, you know, like a 2-year-old sees you jump up and down, they're like, wow, that's amazing. You're like, yeah. Yep.
That's what I do.
It's not amazing. But if you're not getting it, but at least I have somebody in my life that I care about, that I want them to appreciate me more. I mean, it's a little more hollow. It's a little more hollow. It's not going to really get you
Right.
through. But it's being grateful for that.
Yeah.
Attention. Jay?
Well, one of your
Oh,
needs
I
is
see.
attention, so you're an
Well,
expert in
I'm
it.
like, oh, great.
So is Brian.
He's gonna introduce attention. And his big introduction was Jay attention.
He's like, I'm giving you attention right now.
What do you want from me?
Attention is the black sheep of the emo. You could have introduced attention as
attention is Jay likes to speak about how it's the black sheep of the
It's a bad
emotional
rap.
needs family because it's a tough one to know that person that needs a ton of attention. But
I
the
disagree
reason
with
I
that. I think
turned
it's sometimes very obvious the person that needs attention.
no, it's tough to. What did I say?
It could be tough to be
You said it's
around
tough
that
to know the person.
Oh, that's what I meant,
Oh,
Brian.
tough to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
around.
It could be.
I understand.
It could be tough to. No. It could be tough to give that person.
That's what you led with. huh?
Jay,
Just keep digging, Chris.
Ooh.
Keep.
I touched your hand. I'm sorry about that.
I don't know why. I didn't like it. It was a little.
The reason I said
smelled like
Jay is
seafood.
because we all know, and Jay would be the first to say, he's a person who that's one of his higher needs.
It is. With attention, once again, I would say that you have people, places, organizations, whoever that you want attention from, you know, unless again, if you don't, well, then you're not going to have any gratitude for that. But even that, okay. So if Rachel's not paying enough attention to me, hey, man, I got a great wife. And I'm going to love and serve her, and we're going to work on that. So I'm grateful for her, grateful for my kids, grateful for my church, grateful for my friends. Okay, great. What if I had none of that? Well, I'm grateful that I have another chance tomorrow to meet somebody that I'm going to become friends with, and maybe they'll pay attention to me. You know, to have the opportunity to meet the need, to grow so that you're not so attention seeking, I think are different ways you're having a mindset of gratitude can help you with that attention.
Can I ask something? At church on Sundays, especially at the 9 o'clock, you
Yes.
always say, all right, time to go get coffee. Shake hands with people that look like they want their hands shaken. Don't for the people. Do you think the people that don't want attention can be grateful by me not coming over to shake their hand?
Oh, absolutely.
Hey, you're welcome, everybody.
And grateful for
Job
Jay
done.
pointing it out because I
Yeah,
always appreciate that Jay's like, you know, we see that. We recognize that not everybody, you know, wants that or needs that attention, and that's okay. I love that.
And I was gonna say, I don't think we mentioned this yet, because we've talked a lot about of not getting these needs met, and what you don't want to do is steal these things, getting the attention from all the wrong places.
Right.
Because like we've talked about that on a previous podcast, but if you haven't, if this is your first time listening, it's bad to go and get attention from something that you shouldn't, like, you know, somebody that's not your wife, or you know, like that kind of
Something
thing.
you have to pay money for.
Or we always use affection. Don't try to steal a hug from somebody
Right.
because you need affection.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah, that's what Eric's talking about. Belonging, the need
Yeah.
to belong.
Dude, nothing gets best friend.
Nailed it.
I talked a lot about 15 minutes ago. I'm spent now, so
Okay.
I got nothing.
I got this one because I have a high need of belonging. You know, I kind of did when I was talking about acceptance, I feel like I was kind of talking more about belonging because to me they were kind of the same in the same breath. But
Well, because when you're not accepted, you don't feel like you belong.
right, and in that mindset, with a high need of belonging, I do want to be part of a group, you know, and sometimes I'm not part of a group or I haven't been accepted into that group, but I'm grateful for this group that I have here and other friends that I have. But
For everyone that sits at the table.
yeah, like it's one of those things where I can always come back to you guys, the 4 families, other, Duke and Lydia, Max, there's always somebody for me to feel belonging to. if I haven't been accepted by somebody else.
This is one I also have a higher need for, and every time we hit one that fits that for me, that's one of mine, I'm always like, oh, this sounds really tough if you don't have that. Like it really, if you don't belong. Like I am very grateful, like to, like you said, Eric, just the place I am in my life now, that friends and family, and I feel like there's like a support system and that I belong to. So I'm grateful for that. But the absence of that, like how do you find gratitude in the need for belonging? I don't know. That's a tough one for me to wrap my head around.
Well, to me, it's probably the most difficult one because if you're truly all alone, it's a pretty dark place. And it's always, as we point out, terrible to be alone. Well, if you have a high need for belonging, okay, it's the worst for you to be alone. But you can look backwards at, okay, where did I belong? Where were my groups in the past? Be grateful for those, because I think that can help you sort of reassess yourself. Okay, what was I like then? And did I smother people? And did I do whatever? But I'm grateful for that experience, because now maybe moving forward, I can be better off that way. And if you're like, no, you know what? I just haven't found anybody that's worthy of me. Now, I don't know who's actually saying that, but at least you're like, you know what? I have the confidence that I'm worthy of that. No, maybe you don't have the confidence in that. Okay, well, then you can work on that. But you can say, I just haven't found my niche yet.
When you mention that, like thinking about your past and where you used to fit in, and do you consider it an authentic
Meeting
or
of your
quality
needs?
action to pursue belonging? Like, I know you don't want to steal it, but if you really you're alone, you don't have any current friend groups, your family lives far away, whatever, you don't feel like you belong. Is it a good action to go, like, to seek out, like, oh, I'm gonna go join the local disc golf league or something and try to
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah, right.
It's not stealing it.
No.
Just-
Now,
Right.
if you
Okay.
become something you're not in order to do that,
Right.
then that's going
You're
to be damaging
pursuing
to you in many ways.
finding a group. Yeah.
Right.
And along the way, you pick up disc golf and you can be grateful for a new skill that you have.
There you go.
Honestly, like, hey, yeah, I don't belong. I'm going to go try to find my belonging in disc golf.
You suck at disc golf.
Nobody likes you in disc golf, but you're enjoying disc golf.
And when you miss a putt, somebody's going to come alongside you and comfort you, which is our next emotional need. Comfort is joining somebody in their emotions, rejoicing with them when they rejoice. That's not comfort, but mourning with them, grieving with them when they're sad. If you have a high need for comfort and you're aware of that, you should be grateful. Because I would say of all the emotional needs, this is one of the ones that people don't even know. They don't know how to comfort. So if you're cognitive enough to be like, man, I really wish people came alongside me more.
Yeah.
You're ahead of the game, and you're going to be that for other people.
Most people's best comfort is, oh, I've been there.
I mean, maybe they'll throw some scripture. We've talked about comfort.
Yeah.
Obviously, we probably can continue to do that. So the fact that you're even aware that you have that high need, you should be so grateful because you're going to be the best person in anybody's world. To me, that it's just you are. If you can get good at comfort, you will stand out in any circle you're in, and so you should be grateful for that. Is mine. Have you guys come up with anything?
I think that's beautiful.
We've talked about the other ones as well. Thinking of times in the past where you were comforted. That's how precious and rare being comforted is. I can list for you the times people came alongside me and just shut their mouth and cried with me, or put their arm around me. Well, man, it's so rare. If you've ever gotten it, be so grateful for it, and encourage others to do the same. Encouragement is, attaboy, I believe you can get it done. You have a task, you have a challenge, you're doing something, and somebody says, I believe you can do it. I think we should do this along with support. Support is saying to somebody, let me help you do it. Because I came up with the exact same answer for both for me.
Yeah, because I have a need of support, and I don't know. Like, if you don't get it, I mean, I'm grateful for this project that I still need help for.
Yes.
Like, you know what I
Yes.
mean?
Well,
Like,
100, yes.
yeah.
And so actually today, I don't have a huge need of support, but when I do need it, I need it. And at work, I work from home. completely separate from my main office, and so there can be a disconnect. And so anyways, today talking to one of my bosses, he came alongside and proactively did something that I was like, thank you so much for doing. Like he called in another team member that he was able to see that would be perfect for this position. And I was very grateful for that because he saw a need, even if it's like I said, an emotional need that I'm not high on. In that moment, I needed it. So I was very grateful for that foresight, that leadership that somebody took in my life.
I agree. And I think more with Eric, or alongside what Eric was saying, is if you have something to overcome, boy, I'm grateful for the challenge. And I'm grateful that I'm worthy. Yeah, I could use some encouragement. I could use some support, but I'm grateful I got something to overcome because that's an opportunity to achieve, whether or not. Respect, oh boy. You know, if you have a high need for respect, why should you be grateful? Brian, Chris would
when
say.
you're not getting it.
Oh, I thought this was the easiest one. Number one, that you're worthy of respect. Man, I'm worthy of respect.
Wow.
Nobody respects me.
Right.
I'm grateful that I am awesome enough that somebody should respect what I'm doing.
I don't want to say it because like I don't want to seem
That's a good
conceited.
point.
Well, because I believe every human deserves respect. But
Right, made in God's image.
right.
Okay.
It's funny.
Start there.
Yeah, right.
Hey, I'm still here.
I'm still somebody.
You say it that
Yeah.
way though, but I feel like because I also have a high need for respect.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't respect you enough by saying, Chris, you have a high need for respect.
No, that's fine because I was glad you focused on Brian because I didn't have anything to say, but now I do.
I don't want to steal the attention from you, Chris. That's
like-
because I respect you so much.
I think part of the reason I get angry when I feel disrespected is because there's like a voice or a part of my brain that is like, well, yeah, you don't deserve respect. You know what I mean? Like, so that's tricky for me to feel grateful that at least I have some self.
Well, when you don't believe it, then you wouldn't be grateful for that.
Yeah, right. It's
But
just a challenge,
You
I
could
guess.
be grateful
Yeah.
that in that moment, I would be grateful that I am self-aware enough that I'm checking myself.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that I haven't given myself over to arrogance.
Okay.
And that the Holy
Yeah.
Spirit's working in my heart to say, you know what? You don't really deserve much respect right now. Except for the fact the base level respect that one would get.
Yeah, and I think when I feel disrespected, a lot of times what I'll do is go back to past accomplishments and kind of, like I said, look at myself and say, you know what? I don't care. Like, okay, I felt disrespected here. I'm grateful for these things that I've done in the past. I'm grateful for...
And certainly respect you've gotten in the past.
Right.
You know, maybe that person.
And I'm grateful for how I've been able to sow into somebody else's lives so that they can, feel respected, even though I don't feel respected in this moment.
And that could be applied to a lot of them. Like, one thing.
Well, we talk about. I'm going to interrupt you. Sure. Clearly, you
I
said,
don't
because
need
you
any
said
respect.
don't steal it.
Right.
Because one of the ways you steal it is by giving it. You give what
Right.
you want to get.
Right.
But if you do it intentionally and not to get, but just since
Right,
I
you just
really
wanna impart.
value
You just
respect,
wanna
I'm going to
impart.
say, hey, you do a nice job.
Right.
And you're going to go, hey, at least I did my job.
Right.
You know what I mean? I gave respect. You don't sit there and go, and.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was even going to say, like, going back to, like, appreciation. Like, hey, maybe I didn't get appreciated this time, but I got appreciated last time. There'll be another time coming.
And I haven't appreciated anybody in a while. Maybe I'm being a bit of a jerk.
I have the opportunity. The opportunity, which I'm grateful for.
Exactly. Lastly, because we already did support, is security. Both emotional and or physical and relational.
Yeah. I mean,
You brought us. We were all excited. We were so excited.
then I thought it was so dumb. Like,
No,
in
I
my head,
guarantee
I
it's
was like,
not.
this is so dumb.
You said silence would be better than the answer I'm about. An awkward silence would be better.
You know
than
me.
what
I
I'm
walk
thinking.
with all the confidence on
In
these.
the old Dukes of Hazzard shows, like when they went to commercial, they're like doo-doo-doo.
going over the ravine.
Yeah, that's what happened with Eric just there. I was like, those boys were in a heap of
I
trouble.
was just going to say. So actually, what we just
I'm
heard.
really grateful for you, Brian, because I was going to say it was more like a do like window shutting down.
I was making it exciting.
The podcast just froze, and you heard. Well, now Eric's got himself in a bit of a pickle. We're going to see what happens after this commercial
Eric
break.
feels like a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs.
This is going to make this even more anticlimactic.
All right, everybody, gather around, gather around, gather around,
Okay,
gather
what-
around.
what-
Okay,
what were you gonna
everybody, look at Eric.
No, I was thinking, so security, because I don't have a high need of security.
Nah.
But we've talked about, like, Is the front door locked?
Right.
Well, I'm grateful I got 2 legs I can get up and go check.
Oh, absolutely.
I have a lock on my front door,
Yeah, that's
even
just-
if it's not locked.
It's simple.
I'm grateful that you're grateful that you have the ability to secure things.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a house that I can go lock that door on. Mm-hmm. You know,
I
Some
have a
people live in
relationship
cardboard
that I'm worried someone's going to break.
Right.
Hey, at least I got that relationship. You value that you have something that you're afraid to lose, for lack of a better term.
In summary, it seems like for all of these, like if you are not having a certain emotional need met, gratitude can serve as like a bridge or something, like a mental
I would say maybe a
bridge.
life preserver.
Yeah. Okay, great. A mental life preserver to say, okay, I'm not getting this now. Let me switch up the way I'm thinking about this in order to transition it, in a different direction.
Yeah. And I think to sum up too, gratitude will take you from looking at the negative about a situation, pulling you back and going, man, there is such a bigger picture here that I can be grateful for.
One other thing in regards to all of this, I think another side effect or a bonus of being grateful is that you will much more value it when you have your need met. So if you're really have a high need for respect, if you're grateful
More
when
aware.
it is met, it'll keep you from obsessing and then becoming that maniacal, the attention-seeking
take it.
behavior, the respect. The person that just demands respect everywhere. If they would sit back and be grateful for the respect that they get, they wouldn't be so hungry to steal it or demand it in other aspects. Jay Frank, a.k.a. Jared, asked,
Not in DC at the moment.
he said, how do we feel about trying to make someone who is sad or upset be more grateful without seeming fake? Now, what is the answer to that? How do you make someone who is sad or upset more grateful?
Okay.
Come on, boys.
Yeah.
Answer for Jared.
I don't know if I understand it.
So
Sorry, Jared.
it's
look on the
sort of
bright
like
side.
facts, logic, and reason is what.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay.
And/or.
Now I get it. now.
And/or.
Okay.
Reason?
Oh, you're
Ignoring.
sad and you're upset. But you know what? You got a lot going for you. You got a lot of good things going for you. Okay? It's facts, logic, and reason. What else is it?
I was going to
It's
say,
also
you could-
critical.
it's-
Don't be sad.
Right.
Don't be
Yeah.
upset.
Yeah.
Look at all the good things you have going for you.
You could
So
say-
I don't think you'll seem fake. But I think, well, no, I interrupted you twice. That's why I'm pointing. I don't think you'll seem
Clearly,
fake.
he's apologizing by doing this.
I think it just won't be effective. Eric?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, ignoring, like, don't worry about it, or, just, I'll move on. Tomorrow's coming.
I think to answer Jared's question, we would say you're going to want to make sure you comfort them first. Join them in their sadness and their
Right.
upsetness.
Right.
And then, once again, we always say there is a time and a place for facts, logic, and reason. It ain't when they're first initially hurt.
Right.
So you come alongside them, earn the right to be hurt a little bit, and then maybe they even ask you, man, I just don't have anything. And then you say, well, can I point out a few things you do have? And they go, no. You go, all right.
All right.
Right.
say,
You're
Or-
lost, idiot.
Or, like, after you...
That's why.
after you comfort them, you could say, "Man, I'm so grateful for you," and even just set the example, like you're grateful, and maybe they'll kind of feel the same way.
The last thing, and Brian, you just touched on this, is there is a Tyler Tote who we talked about his marriage tips or something once. We talked about having him on the podcast, but he's probably not coming. He said he would. He has a rule in his house. If you're going to complain, you also have to have gratitude. And so, like his 7-year-old daughter, I hate doing the dishes, but I'm grateful that we had dinner.
Yeah.
I can't stand, I can't believe my car got dented. Grateful I drive a nice car. I hate doing the laundry. Boy, it's great to have, and I thought, man, that is a great antidote.
Yeah.
And we talked about earlier for that negative spirit, looking at things a different lens, but it's the antidote for the negativity.
Yeah.
So I challenge anybody else. The next time you find yourself complaining, try to attach some gratitude.
Awesome.
It's such an antidote. It really is.
And that's it for episode 198. Oh, we are creeping up on 200. If you can, give us a like or follow on social media, and definitely visit us at lunchtimeinrome.com. While there, take our relational needs questionnaire, as Jay mentioned earlier. And thank you for joining us at the table for Lunchtime in Rome.
Goodbye.
See you next week.
Grateful for all of you.
Oh, good.